Think about this. You save for months, maybe years, finally sign the paperwork on what looks like the perfect used car, and then just 20,000 miles later, the transmission dies. Suddenly, you're staring at a repair bill bigger than your monthly paycheck. That sinking feeling? It's something far too many Americans know firsthand. Transmissions are supposed to be the most dependable part of a vehicle. They're the link between the engine and the wheels, the piece of engineering that makes driving seamless. But in the US market, some cars were built with gearboxes so fragile, so poorly engineered, they've bankrupted families and left mechanics shaking their heads. What makes it worse is that many of these cars weren't obscure imports. We're talking about some of the most popular sedans, SUVs, and compacts sold in America over the last decade, cars millions trusted for commuting, family life, and road trips. Dealers pushed them hard, ads sold them as smart buys, and only after the warranty expired did the truth come out. That's why today we're counting down 8 cars with the worst transmissions in America. The ones mechanics dread, owners regret, and dealerships quietly hope you don't research before signing. From CVTs that fail before 80,000 miles to dual clutches that jerk and stutter like a rookie driver, these are the gearboxes that turned dreams into financial nightmares. And topping the list? We'll start with a Ford that became so notorious it triggered lawsuits, recalls, and buybacks all across the US. Number 8. Ford Focus. The Ford Focus should have been the ultimate American commuter car. Affordable, stylish enough, and sold in the millions. But if you've spent any time on US car forums or consumer complaint sites, you already know why the Focus became infamous. The culprit? Ford's PowerShift dual-clutch automatic transmission. Instead of delivering quick, seamless shifts, the PowerShift stumbled right out of the gate. Owners complained of violent shuddering at stoplights, hesitation when merging, and sudden loss of power in traffic. Some units failed before 60,000 miles, leaving drivers with repair bills of $3,000 to $5,000, often more than the car was worth on trade. Things got so bad that lawsuits piled up across the country. Ford was forced into class action settlements, extended warranties, and even buyback programs. But by then, the damage to trust was irreversible. Walk onto almost any dealer lot in the US today, and if you mention a Focus with PowerShift, salespeople wince. They know customers don't want the headache. The real sting? Even after repairs, many cars went back to the shop for the exact same problem. Car histories across America show multiple transmission replacements on the same vehicle, a nightmare loop that made buyers feel trapped. For thousands of Americans, the Focus wasn't just a bad car, it was a betrayal. And while Ford took the biggest PR hit here, another compact sedan followed the same disastrous playbook, dragging its buyers into the same cycle of broken promises. Number 7. Nissan Altima. For decades, the Nissan Altima was one of America's favorite sedans, big enough for families, cheap enough for commuters, and everywhere on US roads. But its reputation fell apart when Nissan went all in on CVT transmissions. On paper, CVTs promised smoother driving and better gas mileage. In reality, they became one of the most hated gearboxes in America. Owners across the US describe the same story: shuddering when accelerating, whining noises that get louder with mileage, and sudden power loss that turns a routine highway merge into a white-knuckle moment. Some Altimas didn't even make it past 70,000 miles before the CVT gave up completely. Replacements cost $3,500 to $5,000, often more than the resale value of the car itself. Even worse, many replacement CVTs failed again, trapping owners in a cycle of repeat repairs. Lawsuits and warranty extensions tried to patch the problem, but by then the Altima's name was damaged beyond repair. Dealers lowball trade-ins, and savvy buyers know to avoid them altogether. Check used listings and you'll often see the dreaded phrase, "new transmission installed," which is really just a red flag that another failure could be around the corner. The Altima went from a trusted family sedan to a cautionary tale. For many Americans, it wasn't just unreliable. It was the moment they swore off Nissan entirely. And if you think sedans had it rough, wait until you see what happened when Jeep tried to reinvent the SUV gearbox with a 9-speed disaster. Number 6. Jeep Cherokee. When Jeep reintroduced the Cherokee to the US market, it came with big promises. Modern design, off-road DNA, and a high-tech 9-speed automatic transmission that was supposed to blend efficiency with rugged capability. Instead, it became one of the most complained about gearboxes in America. From day one, owners reported hesitation when shifting, random jerks, and a constant feeling that the transmission couldn't figure out what gear it wanted. Some Cherokees even lunged forward unexpectedly, a terrifying experience in stop-and-go traffic. For families who bought into Jeep's marketing, the daily drive quickly turned into a guessing game. Would the car shift smoothly today, or would it buck like a rodeo bull? Repairs were equally painful. Software updates didn't fix the mechanical flaws, and full transmission replacements often ran $4,000 to $6,000. Mechanics across the U.S. started joking that Cherokee owners should have punch cards. Every 5th visit to the shop, the next diagnosis is free. Resale values tanked. Dealers quietly pushed trade-ins to auctions, unwilling to put them on front lots. Used buyers know better too, skipping Cherokees entirely for rivals like the RAV4 or CRV. What was meant to be a comeback story for Jeep ended up as one of the brand's biggest headaches. And here's the twist. While Jeep stumbled with complexity, a German brand managed to frustrate Americans in a totally different way by selling a performance sedan with a transmission that feels like a ticking time bomb. Number 5. Volkswagen Jetta. The Volkswagen Jetta has always attracted US buyers who wanted a touch of European style without paying Audi or BMW money. Sleek lines, sporty handling, and turbocharged punch. It looked like a win. But under the hood lurked the DSG dual-clutch transmission, and for many Americans, it turned the dream of German engineering into a financial nightmare. On paper, DSGs are brilliant, lightning-fast shifts and improved efficiency. In practice, they often jerk at low speeds, hesitate when pulling away from stoplights, and feel anything but smooth in traffic. The real trouble comes when the Mechatronic unit, the brain of the DSG, fails. Replacements can cost $3,000 to $5,000, and that's before adding clutch packs that wear out early. Owners who thought they were buying an affordable European sedan suddenly face repair bills rivaling luxury cars. Stories pop up constantly on forums and Carfax histories, Jettas with 2 or 3 major transmission repairs before hitting 100,000 miles. For a compact sedan meant to compete with Civics and Corollas, that's unacceptable. Dealers know it too. Trade-in values are weak, and used lots often keep them parked in the back row. The DSG promised sophistication but delivered stress, and it's left countless US drivers wondering if that fun-to-drive feeling was worth the thousands they spent keeping the car alive. And just when you think Honda always plays it safe, the next car proves even the most trusted name in reliability stumbled badly with its first big CVT gamble. Number 4. Honda Civic. Say Honda Civic in America, and most people think of bulletproof reliability. It's the car high schoolers inherit, the commuter that runs forever, the go-to for anyone who just wants something that works. But when Honda introduced the CVT to the Civic, it created one of the brand's rare missteps, and a shock for US drivers who trusted the name. Early CVT Civics developed a reputation for jerking under acceleration, slipping on hills, and overheating during long drives. Some owners even reported total transmission failure before 90,000 miles, a nightmare no one expects from a Civic. And when repairs came, they weren't cheap. CVT rebuilds or replacements often topped $3,000 to $4,500, eating away the savings buyers thought they'd gained from Honda's legendary dependability. The backlash was strong because expectations were so high. Americans bought Civics thinking they'd get the same bulletproof performance their parents enjoyed, only to find themselves scheduling repeated service visits. Even though Honda improved later CVTs, the damage was done. Carfax histories for early models are littered with transmission work, and used buyers approach them cautiously. For many, it was the first time the Civic let them down. And while that hurt Honda's image, the next car shows how Detroit's promise of affordable family transport collapsed under the weight of a transmission that just couldn't hold up. Number 3. Chevrolet Cruze. The Chevrolet Cruze was meant to be GM's big play in the compact car market, a rival to the Civic and Corolla that would keep American buyers loyal to domestic brands. At first glance, it worked. Good fuel economy, modern tech, and plenty of them on used lots across the US. But under the skin, the Cruze's 6-speed automatic transmission proved to be one of its weakest links. Owners complained about rough shifts, delayed engagement, and transmissions that slipped like the car couldn't decide what gear it wanted. Some reported outright failure before the odometer hit 90,000 miles. Repairs weren't friendly on the wallet either. Valve body failures, solenoid replacements, and torque converter issues often stacked up to $2,500 to $3,500 in bills. For a budget sedan, those costs hit hard. The problem was widespread enough that mechanics across America started warning buyers. If you're looking at a Cruze, budget for transmission work. Used car shoppers learned quickly, too. Carfax histories for Cruzes often show multiple trips to transmission specialists, a red flag that scares off anyone who's done their homework. What makes it worse is that the Cruze wasn't a luxury car, it was sold as affordable transportation. But for many U.S. families, the cheap-to-buy narrative flipped into expensive-to-own. And while the Cruze stumbled at the budget level, the next car shows how Chrysler managed to ruin its shot at redemption, with a transmission so infamous it practically doomed the entire model. Number 2, Chrysler 200. The Chrysler 200 was supposed to be a comeback story, a sleek mid-size sedan built to compete with Camry, Accord, and Fusion. It had the looks, it had the marketing push, and for a moment, it seemed like Chrysler finally had a hit. But then owners got behind the wheel and the 9-speed automatic transmission turned that optimism into regret. Instead of smooth shifting, the gearbox hesitated, clunked, or hunted through gears like it was lost. Drivers described scary delays when pulling into traffic or jerks so violent it felt like the car had been rear-ended. For families expecting comfort, the daily commute became a gamble. The problems weren't isolated. Chrysler pushed software updates, recalls, and warranty fixes, but none solved the underlying flaws. Mechanics across the U.S. dreaded them, knowing even basic repairs often required hours of labor and still didn't guarantee a lasting fix. Replacement transmissions cost thousands, often more than what the car was worth just a few years after purchase. The reputation hit was brutal. Dealers struggled to move used 200s. Trade-in offers sank to insulting lows, and rental fleets quietly cycled them out. What was meant to be Chrysler's redemption ended up as its embarrassment. And if you think mid-size sedans had it bad, the finale proves that even a stylish little car marketed as fun can carry one of the most frustrating automatics ever sold in America. Number 1. Mini Cooper. Few cars capture attention on U.S. roads like the Mini Cooper. It's fun, stylish, and marketed as the cool choice for drivers who want personality in a small package. But ask any mechanic what they think of working on an automatic Mini, and you'll hear groans before words. The problem isn't just the cramped engine bay, it's the notoriously fragile Aisin automatic transmission. Owners report slipping gears, hard shifts, and sudden failures, often before the car even cracks 80,000 miles. Rebuilds and replacements can run $5,000 to $7,000, which is absurd when many used Minis sell for less than that. Worse, these transmissions don't always stay fixed. Some drivers have replaced them twice in the same ownership, draining wallets and patience. The frustration is amplified by the Mini's image. Buyers expect a premium experience, but what they get is long repair visits and sky-high bills. Add the fact that even simple maintenance jobs require hours of labor thanks to the cramped layout, and you've got one of the most dreaded small cars in American shops. Used car listings tell the story clearly. Countless Minis with new transmission installed, a supposed selling point that really signals future trouble. Dealers often avoid them, knowing the next owner will be back with complaints. The Mini Cooper automatic might look like the life of the party, but behind the wheel of a broken gearbox, it's just another expensive regret. And there you have it, 8 cars with the worst transmissions in America. From Ford's disastrous PowerShift to Nissan's fragile CVTs, Jeep's 9-speed headache, Volkswagen's temperamental DSG, Honda's surprising CVT misstep, Chevy's weak 6-speeds, Chrysler's embarrassing 200, and the Mini Cooper that turns fun into frustration. These are the cars that prove one bad gearbox can ruin an entire model. What's the takeaway? In the US used car market, transmissions aren't just another repair, they're deal breakers. Engines can be rebuilt, brakes can be swapped, but when a transmission goes bad, you're looking at repair bills that rival the car's value. That's why mechanics groan when these models roll into the shop, and why dealers lowball them on trade-ins. The real question is, have you been burned by one of these cars? Did your Altima shudder itself into early retirement, or did your Focus leave you stranded on the highway? Share your story in the comments because your experience might save another American family thousands of dollars. And if this video gave you insight before your next car search, do us a favor. Hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next breakdown of the US cars worth buying.